Public Affairs programming on WQPT is brought to you by the Singh Group at Merrill Lynch, serving the wealth management needs of clients in the region for over 25 years.
A very different year of politics in Illinois. What's in store for the 101st State Assembly and ringing in the new year 12 hours early in the cities? The impact of the 2018 election in Illinois will be felt across the state just days from now as Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker is sworn into office, and Democrats find themselves with even more control of state government, including both chambers of the legislature. What's the impact, and what role will we see from Illinois Republicans? And joining us is Republican State Representative Tony McCombie of Savannah, Democratic State Representative Mike Halpin of Rock Island. Thank you both. Congratulations both on your re-election victories. Where do the Republicans stand as you walk into Springfield once again coming up in January?
Well, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I would say for me personally, I'm going to have an open mind and an open heart and trust until you can't trust. I do believe the transition teams that Governor-elect Pritzker has been putting in place are bipartisan. They have a mix of some Republicans and Democrats. They say that doesn't typically happen, so that makes me optimistic in itself. And I would say that their staff has already reached out wanting to learn different things. And I immediately sent a text over to Juliana because she was in our class and just said, don't forget downstate. And that's really going to be my big push. You know, Pritzker, you know, whether you voted for him or you didn't, he's never, God bless him, going to understand where we come from. He was born with, you know, a different situation than we were. So I hope with Juliana, and I believe she's going to have a bigger role than a typical lieutenant governor. I'm hopeful.
Republicans did not do well, as you know, in the state legislature and in state offices, yet the two Republicans representing the Quad City area hung out of their seats and won re-election, yourself as well as State Senator Neil Anderson. What does that say? I mean, usually this area was so Democratic, and yet you guys fared very well.
Well, I think we tried to legislate in partnership with, you know, the other side of the aisle, and it's really not about politics for us. We're just trying to do what's best for our, you know, our economy and our schools. And if you stay focused on that and stay out of the politics, I think people recognize that. And so that's just how I'm going to continue to work the district. Mike
Halpin, Democrats have a stronger hand than ever before right now. Well, maybe not never before, but at least in the last few sessions. How are the Democrats going to use that?
Well, I think it may seem strange, but what we're going to see is actually more bipartisanship than what we had for the past several years. With our soon-to-be former governor, there was a lot of tension, a lot of division, and a lot of trying to toe the party line. I think JB is going to have a different approach to working with the minority party. I think we're going to still have our disputes about some of the big picture things. You know, ideological issues are always going to be there. But I think there's going to be a concerted effort to try to find common ground, try to find those compromises that we can actually move the state forward. As I tell people, it took both parties over 40 years to get us into the mess that we've been in. It's going to take both parties to get us out.
One of the things that people might worry about is with super control in the Senate by the Democrats and more control in the House by Democrats, that you're going to just ram things through. Well, two areas that people are really concerned about, I think, would be the upcoming redistricting after the 2020 census and the fear of gerrymandering throughout the state of Illinois. And the second big fear, of course, is that we've got these members of the legislature that have been in office for such a very long time. And whether or not it's term limitations or changes in the way you do committee heads and committee leadership and legislative leadership, I think that's a real concern among a lot of people. Will Democrats actually take action on that, or will it be, hey, it's our way or the highway?
I think what some of that analysis doesn't take into account is that the Democratic caucus is fairly diverse. We do have city members, suburban members, and some downstate members, and we don't all march in lockstep. So I think it's the Democrats had a supermajority on paper, I think 4 years ago, maybe it was 6 years ago. And we didn't necessarily see that happening then either, because we do represent a broad array of interests, and I think that's even more clear after the most recent elections. Democrats made a lot of gains in some suburban areas where they may not have the same positions that I might have here in Western Illinois. So I think that's a fear that may be a little bit overblown.
What we do know about the 4 years of Governor Rauner's tenure was Mike Madigan is the evil source of almost everything, and Mike Madigan is not leaving, and the Democrats are stronger than ever before. Is that something that is still going to resonate, or did it even resonate in the year 2018?
Well, I think it certainly was part of mailings. Luckily not on my side this time around, but it certainly was in the past, and certainly was around the state. That message was still used. You know, bottom line, and we've said this before, anybody to be in office, especially in a leadership position for 40 years isn't healthy, whether you're in state government, banking, any industry. You know, you sitting here for 40 years, it's probably not the best move for your, you know, your business. So, yeah, you're still going to have that. The majority party has had control in the state of Illinois for what I think 35 of those 40 years. But Representative Halpin's right. We have to work together, and I'm hoping that younger members, more thoughtful members will get away from what's popular politically and actually get down to business and solve our issues.
Does it appear that tax reform is going to be on the top of the agenda? I mean, it's been the biggest promise of a progressive tax culture in Illinois by the entire Democratic, every Democratic candidate, it seems, at least in the northern part of the state.
I do think so. It's something that Governor-elect Pritzker campaigned on, many members of the General Assembly. And you have to remember back in, I think it was 2014, you know, almost 2/3 of the state supported some type of graduated you know, surcharge or tax. And as long as it's done right and responsibly, I think we can make it effective just the way Iowa has for many, many years.
And when we talk about a progressive income tax, I should point out that means that people who make more, pay more, people who make less, pay less. But the problem is that that's always been kind of a way of life for Midwestern states and the Rust Belt. And now we've seen companies leave this area. We've seen workers become non-unionized. I mean, like you said, it has to be done carefully and correctly. How do you do that?
Well, the best way is to make sure that middle class and the working poor are the ones that see the benefits of a tax cut, and the way you structure that is to make sure that those people are protected. I think when you combine that with other responsible budgeting, spending cuts, prioritizing actual investments like K-12 education, higher education, that over time will actually return money to the state. That's the way that you can carefully do it to make sure it gets done right.
The Republican argument always is that more taxes for certain people and no cuts in spending.
Well, and we, you know, the other side does it as well. You know, we say, you know, we want to cut taxes, but we don't cut spending. And they want to raise taxes and don't cut spending. So until we can start cutting some spending, there's either of those ways are not going to work. But, you know, when you're talking about a progressive income tax, I think it will be interesting. In my opinion, the only way that I think that could work in any way possible, whether you like it or you don't, and my hope is that the majority party takes a look at how we tax everything. Because if we just change one piece, it is going to have unintended consequences that are going to be detrimental to the working poor and the middle class. And that would be very hard to get around. And I think the last thing that the majority wants to do in this big of a majority in the House and the Senate is put in place a progressive tax that ultimately does hurt us and does hurt our schools, because there's nowhere else for the fault to go.
I'd agree with that, especially we need to look at this in the bigger picture of property taxes. The argument that we've been making for a long time is that the state has not met its responsibility to our local governments or our school districts. Mm-hmm. If we do a reform like this, where more money is coming into the state, we need to directly turn that around, fund the education funding formula, make sure to fund our local governments so they can in turn lower those property taxes and make it a more equitable situation.
Likely or unlikely? I mean, this is something that is not going to be done, like you said. Doing it piecemeal could be very detrimental to the state.
I think it's somewhat likely. We've already started the process with the education. We've already have a mechanism for school districts to do that. If they commit to lowering their property taxes, there's a fund to provide incentive. That's the direction we need to go. We need to reverse the cuts to local government, so that they in turn can can lower their property taxes, give them some relief.
But we're never going to cut property taxes in our state until we do something with our pension reform. I mean, look everywhere. Look at every county right now, and every city's, raising their property tax levies to cover, their requirements mandated by the state of Illinois, the levels they need to do. So we really need to look at that too. And I'm not saying extend it out necessarily to, kick the can down the road. But one, we have to pay the bill, and two, we seriously do have to look at what we're mandating our municipalities to do, because around here, was it 10.9% for an income tax, for a property tax? I mean, that's crazy. And it becomes unaffordable, and that's especially with us being on a border state, both, somewhat involved in real estate, that's an issue. And we can't continue to have people going across the river to live. I think I just read today, 45,000 people domestically migrated out of Illinois this last year. That's too many.
So what are the Republicans going to do in this next session? Are you going to just sit back and say, okay, this is your show to run, we'll see how well you do it? Or what is the role of the minority party?
I certainly hope not. Still fairly new in this game. I've been pretty verbal with my leadership that I want us to come forward with our thoughts right now on big issues, especially the progressive tax or marijuana or anything that is a hot ticket item that was being sold politically right now. Let's get our 2 cents in right now and see if we can find some common ground. Yeah, we're probably not going to be happy with all of the results, but it's to get a piece here or there that is going to be for the greater good. I think that should be our motivation. And
as you said, legalizing marijuana is one of them. I mean, is that something that the Democratic Party is strongly supporting, or is that just more of a, it's inevitable, we might as well take that step?
It's, as I said before, our caucus isn't 100% monolithic on the issue, but I think there is going to be some structure that comes forward. There's probably going to be a bill that's voted on, but my goal and my hope is that's going to be consensus based. I think it will attract bipartisan support, but we'll have to see what the details are.
Is the Democratic consensus? Is the Democratic caucus in consensus when it comes to raising the minimum wage?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the vast majority of the caucus is. Not everybody, but
then the real question is how, or to what extent. Yeah. So where do you sit on that?
Well, I certainly would support a bill that similar to the one or identical to the one that we passed last session, where the rest of the caucus is. I can't say for sure, but it would be a gradual increase over several years, probably combined with the small business type tax credit to ease some of that burden. But I think that's the direction we probably would head in.
Increase the minimum wage seems to be inevitable with Democratic leadership in control. As a Republican, you're always worried about the small businessman and also the costs that are being sent on to other people, customers and clients as well. Is that still a major concern of yours? And
I don't think that's necessarily a Republican issue. I think it's a small legislator district, a rural area.
It's something I'm very concerned about.
A downstate legislator issue. But yeah, I think one of the things that I'm also very hopeful, Irma is on the transition and the discussions for the minimum wage, and they are out to protect merchants and retailers. And the Chamber of Commerce is also very involved in those conversations. So I would hope that they do slow that down, and I think from what I've read, they are slowing those talks down a little bit to not jam them down, because there again, you're going to have unintended consequences. What I see in my small community is automatically the wage is going to go up, and so is the cost of the goods, because they're not going to be able to do that. Or if there is an hourly rate that they're going to tie to that, like they did, with the Affordable Care Act, then you're going to see people losing their jobs. And that's the last thing I think anybody wants. So you don't want to lose jobs, and you don't want to destroy our small businesses. So I think the bill that was presented before is not ideal. And I hope that they do come up with something a little more creative that is going to protect the small businesses.
The big issue that's percolating right now also is an increase in the gas tax and changes as far as the gas taxes across the state of Illinois. That could be wildly unpopular, though it might be a bitter pill people are going to have to take.
No, so I think it was the outgoing mayor of Chicago, I think, that may have raised this issue, and it's convenient for him to do it at this time, I guess. From my perspective, what we need to do is reevaluate what's the fairest way to pay for our roads, tunnels, bridges, rail, and I don't know that it's a gas tax increase. I don't know what the exact formula is, but we want to make sure that people that are using the roads are contributing to the maintenance and repair of the roads. and it's going to be a long process to figure out how exactly to do that. I don't think 30 cents on a gallon is the right way to do it.
Is this in essence the state reacting to the fact that the federal government hasn't pushed forward a major infrastructure bill for the entire United States?
Maybe a little bit, but we just haven't had a big one here for so long. And before Governor Rauner, before the election, he talked about having a $6 billion capital bill. You know, capital bill is going to be coming. You know, you can only not maintain for so long before things become a point of complete and total disrepair.
Because the last one you really think about actually was Governor Ryan, that he really spearheaded that during his administration.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right when it comes to how we're going to pay for it, and that's not a reason not to do it. We just have to figure that piece out. And for us, a gas tax, I'm sorry not to speak for you, but a gas tax hard with us being here in Illinois and Iowa, because finally we have some parity in our taxes for, and I think it's been since the 70s since our tax has gone up. So I mean, it is time to evaluate that as well, but maybe you could do that in conjunction with all of the other taxes when you're looking at them. But we're certainly going to be pushed for, especially in transportation, assuming that we're both still in those committees, we're going to have to figure something out on that. And, you know, you have to increase revenues. But here's the thing with taxes. People are generally okay with paying for taxes if they can hold and see what they're just paid for. When the government continues to do things with our money that we feel is irresponsible or unethical, there's a problem with that. Or when we're paying a gas tax and we have to put together before our time a lockbox amendment so they don't spend it how they're not supposed to, and then the meaning of what transportation gets changed. That's a problem. So I really hope it's us that are on border districts especially can fight for them to be doing this the right way to protect our constituents.
Yeah, what we can't afford to do is what we've done to higher education, where we fail to invest over 20 years and then have enrollment dropping, which leads to further disinvestment. It's a negative cycle that we can't get into with our infrastructure. It's one of our, should be one of our proudest achievements here in Illinois.
Representative Mike Halpin, Representative Tony McCombie, thank you. Both congratulations for your re-election and good luck in the upcoming session. We appreciate you being here too. In a moment, making the new year Child's Play. But first, here's Laura Adams, Out and About.
This is Out and About for December 24th through New Year's Eve. Have you ever wondered how animals survive the harsh weather of winter? The Niabi Zoo offers Winter Wonders. Children participate in activities and meet animals as they explore unique ways animals develop to survive the winter at the Niabi Zoo, December 26th through 28th. There's still time to catch the musical Pinocchio, the story of a wooden puppet who wants to become a real boy. The show closes on December 29th at Circa 21. Also at Circa, the Tony Award-winning musical Annie, where the sun always comes out tomorrow, running through December 30th. The future of the Quad Cities blues scene will be on display in the Redstone Room. Come see the results of all of the students' hard work at this year's Ellis Kell Winter Blues Camp and hear some classic blues standard along with original compositions. Gatsby at 5, New Year's Eve party, takes place at High Five Lanes and Games in Bettendorf. Plus, all of the casinos have New Year's parties. Remember the King, celebrating the music of Elvis, is a one-of-a-kind New Year's experience at Circa 21 Dinner Playhouse. Or ring in the new year with a tribute to two of the greatest singers ever to live, James Brown and Aretha Franklin, at the RME. For more information, visit wqpt.org.
Thank you, Laura. Tony Hepner is a singer, songwriter, and guitarist who is best known for the band he formed with three buddies, Tony Hepner and Friends. But he came back to the Black Box Theater in Moline to let us hear some of his original work. Seems the perfect title as we bring in a new year. Here's Tony Hepner and Chasing Memories.
Heading down to New Orleans, searching for a warmer dream. Winter months are way too hard on me. Nothing keeping me around, besides I'm wearing down. Perhaps a change will do me good. All my friends have gone away. I guess they're still okay. I'll be leaving sometime next day. Driving down to Champaign, catch the late night train. I'll be on the bayou when the sunrise comes again. Just chasing memories of you. Was the time I loved it here, somehow it's disappeared, just like the leaves of summer's past. Wonder why those days are gone, somehow I can't go on, knowing there's nothing here for me. All my friends have gone away. I guess they're still okay. I'll be leaving sometime next day. Driving down to Champaign, catch the late night train. I'll be on the bayou when the sunrise comes again. Chasing memories of you. Chasing memories of you.
Tony Hepner and Chasing Memories. The stroke of midnight on Monday night will ring in the new year, but why wait? We know a place where the confetti flies 12 hours earlier. And joining us is Sarah Hagini from the Family Museum in Bettendorf. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
New Year's celebration. Stroke at noon, the confetti starts flying.
Times Square for kids.
Isn't
That's
that
the best
truth?
way to describe it. New Year's Eve this year, sponsored by Centra Credit Union. Adding more balloons and more confetti every year.
Yeah.
It's a great time for families to come out and to celebrate the new year without having to keep the little one up until midnight.
Well, and you have a great area because you have like that court area and then the railing and the balconies around it. It works out perfect, doesn't it?
It's fantastic. We have the balloons drop. We have confetti blowers so that there's confetti everywhere. It's just a great time for families to come out with their little kids, to feel included in the New Year celebration, to ring it in a little bit before midnight. And we just have a great time. It's very, very memorable for everyone who comes every year.
The Family Museum opens Monday at
9
9 a.m. So you might be thinking, oh, gee, you know what? I think I'll wait till 11, maybe 11:45 to show up. That's not necessarily a good idea.
That's not a great idea. We're open at 9. We have some activities going on. Kids will be getting noisemakers. The Myers Brothers Band will be there performing. So there's going to be a lot going on. I'd encourage people to get there early. It'll be crowded, and you want to be right there in the middle of all the action to get the most confetti and balloons and really to enjoy the events.
Plus, you only have so much space. You want to turn anyone away. So
we don't want to turn anyone away, and there is a limited amount of space. So
you have a lot of things that also are going on during the winter break. I mean, for families that may have not visited the Family Museum in the past, or those who have not been there in a year or two, during this winter break, what a great time for kids to get reacquainted with the museum and get some learning to doing.
It is. It's great. They can come and enjoy our exhibits. It's a great time if you have family in town to come check out the museum. Our winter decorations are still up. There's all of our hands-on galleries and activities going on. I like to tell people that you never know what's going on at the Family Museum any given day. There's always something fun and exciting going on in our great hall or in the exhibit area. So I really encourage people during the winter break to come check it out. It's a great place to burn off some energy and just to have a good time.
And we've noticed that a lot of these organizations, whether it's the Putnam or the Figge or anything else, they're kind of creating these synergies with each other. And you're doing that with Niabi Zoo as well, so that parents and families can enjoy both places for perhaps a little cheaper fee.
We are really excited to again be doing the Zooseum Pass with Niabi Zoo, which is it's essentially an admission pass. So up to 6 people can get in to each facility any given day, April 15th through October 15th, and enjoy the museum or the zoo or both in one day. So it's a great thing for the summer, for parents, for sitters, grandparents, whatever, whoever wants to bring the kids out for some fun and enjoy the Quad Cities. It's April 15th through October 15th is when the pass is good. If you buy yours before January 1st, it's $110, so you get that early bird price.
Nice.
After January 1st, it's $125.
So you save a couple bucks.
So you
That's
save a
not
couple
wrong.
bucks.
I want to talk also about the foundation. They're doing great work for the Family Museum, but they are in the middle of really a fundraising effort to make some improvements there in Bettendorf.
We are so excited. We're raising money for our Lucky Climber.
Yeah, tell me about that.
It is a 2-story, 3-dimensional climber. If you think of a beanstalk that will climb 2 stories up, kids will be able to start at the bottom and climb up and get out on the 2nd level of the Family Museum. It's fantastic. It's totally safe. These climbers are in museums, malls, businesses around the world. A rumor has it that they're putting one in Universal Studios. So this is a really exciting and big project for us. We'll be the first and only entity in the state of Iowa to have one. We're about $400,000 toward a $500,000 goal.
Very close.
Very close. We're looking at January of 2020 to be the grand opening for that. We've had great community support from local grantors and local organizations, so we're making that final push to get there. And we know that this is going to be iconic for our facility and for kids. I can't imagine when kids walk in and see it how excited they're going to be, because who doesn't love to climb? We have all loved climbing as kids, trees, tables, countertops, so this is going to be fantastic.
Well, I was going to ask you, I mean, does this change or alter in any way the mission for the Family Museum? I mean, are you trying to go into a new direction, or is this just another part of an exciting future? It's
really part of what we are and who we believe that our organization is meant to be. You know, it's so hard here. In the summer it's very hot, in the winter it's very cold. Physical activity is so important for kids, and climbing has been proven to help kids learn hand-eye coordination and movement and things like that. So we think this really complements all of the other services that we're doing, and it gives them a year-round place to come and play. And what's better than that?
And it's called the Lucky Climber?
The Lucky Climber is the name of the organization, and they named the climber after the organization. So they've been around for decades, and we're really, really excited to be getting one at the Family Museum.
Well, you can learn more about it, of course, at your website. Also,
Yes.
if you want to register for any of the classes, the spring classes, the website's got all the information.
Absolutely. Visit familymuseum.org. And we have pottery classes, we have inventors workshops, we have kindergarten readiness classes. It can all be found there. I checked before I came over, and there's openings in all of the classes, so I'd encourage people to go there, check it out, and get registered.
Keep your kids active, both physically and mentally.
Absolutely.
Sarah Hajini from the Family Museum, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And happy New Year's and New Year's as well, right?
Thank you very much.
All right. Please help us celebrate our 35th anniversary of providing public television in the cities. We're putting on a special party next month to mark our anniversary. Tickets now on sale for WQPT Champagne on the Rocks event. It's coming up Friday, January 25th at the Davenport Outing Club. This year, the President and Chief Executive Officer of Public Broadcasting, PBS, Paula Kerger, will join us to talk about programming for the future. It's a night for you to bid on great prizes as well, and perhaps win some jewelry. You can get the details about Champagne on the Rocks at our website, WQPT.org. On the air, on the radio, on the web, and on your mobile device. Thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.
Public Affairs programming on WQPT is brought to you by the Sing Group at Merrill Lynch, serving the wealth management needs of clients in the region for over 25 years.